It's actually hilarious. Anyways, Trump warns countries to abide by tariff deals despite Supreme Court decision. He's such a little pussy. Dude, he's a snowflake and a racist pedophile. Oh my god, it's like all this calling trans people racist pedophiles, snowflakes was projection.
But now I'm going to go in a different direction.
On another note, this is the first Mountain Dew I've had in forever. I was kind of busting.
Probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read.
He's really good at reading language, guys.
Now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. Therefore, effective immediately.
Effective immediately.
All national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs. They're existing. They're there. Remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122,
which isn't legally binding,
over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair.
Yeah. So that's the same thing as yesterday. The court decision struck down tariffs. Trump has already signed an executive order enabling him to bypass Congress and impose 10% tax on global. Do not say it's a tax. 10% tariff on global imports, starting on Tuesday, the same day as the State of the Union speech. Trio of Senate Democrats calling for the government to start refunding roughly $175 billion worth of tariff revenues that Supreme Court ruled were collected because of an illegal set of orders by Donald Trump. Trump's illegal tax scheme has already done the lasting damage to American families, small business, and manufacturers. Stressing that the first crucial step to fixing the problem begins with putting money back in the pocket of small businesses and manufacturers as soon as possible. I mean, $175 billion is enough to solve most of our fucking problems. Dude, this is very funny. This is very funny to me. Yeah, here. This is what I was looking for. This oh my god, I already did.
Paramount Plus.
I will kill you.
Trump is pushing ahead with new tariffs in the wake of the Supreme Court decision that wiped out many of the previously announced tariffs. And now trading partners around the world are trying to figure out how to respond. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
President Trump on Monday doubled down on plans to use other avenues to pursue.
Dude, he walks like a fucking chud. He walks like a chud.
President Trump.
Dude, literally virgin walk.
From the White House.
Looking down, hunched shoulders, no confidence, virgin walk right there.
President Trump on Monday doubled down on plans to use other avenues to pursue his.
I consider Donald Trump a virgin because consensual sex is the only non-virgin sex you can have, and he only fucks children.
His tariff agenda and threatened any country that wants to, quote, play games with what he called a ridiculous Supreme Court decision will be met with a much higher tariff, adding buyer beware. Over the weekend, the president announced he would be raising global tariffs to 15% using Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. But those can only remain in effect for 150 days.
We don't have the same flexibility that IEPA gave us.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer was pressed on Face the Nation what happens when that 150 days is up.
During that time, we're going to conduct investigations that can allow us to impose tariffs if it's justified by the investigation. So we expect to have continuity in the president's tariff program. We know that these laws work. They're tried and true.
But trading partners around the world are facing
Zero
new
charisma.
uncertainty. European Union officials convened an emergency meeting amid the confusion. Monday, the European Union delayed a vote to ratify the trade agreement between the EU and U.S.
True!
that was agreed upon last year in Scotland.
Dude, if Donald Trump met me in real life, he'd be so fucking, like, he'd be shaking, he'd be like, I don't know what to do. This person has so much riz.
It's unclear if there will be additional measures or how the United States will really guarantee that the deal of Thornberry will be respected.
Ambassador Greer told CBS News he expects the previously negotiated deals to stand. Natalie Brand,
They ain't gonna. They ain't gonna. Oh, dude, doing this is so weak. Dude, you look like a pussy. Oh, did it jump up to 15%? Trump says he'll raise the tariffs to 15% after Supreme Court ruling. You wouldn't meet because you're over 20. That's true. I'm actually over 15 years old, which is too old for Donald Trump. Trump's announcement on social media was the latest sign that despite the court's check on his power, Republican president still intends to ratchet up tariffs in an unpredictable way. Surge signed executive order enabling to bypass Congress. 10%. Yeah. I mean, it's something that was like the 25-30. Trump wants to set a 15%, the president said Friday, was pursuing tariffs with other sections of federal law which require investigation by the Commerce Department. Dude, they just don't like him. They don't like him. Another post declaring that his new hero was Brett Kavanaugh, who wrote a 67 or 63. Come on, man. Add the 4 pages to the dissent. I know it's like yapping in there anyways. Federal data shows the Treasury has collected more than $133 billion from import taxes the president has imposed under the emergency power laws of December. A little over 24 hours after his tariffs were ruled illegal, he's doing anything you can do to make sure you can still jack up your costs, they wrote on social media. That's true! Where was the Democrats who were who are the Democrats? Ron Wyden, Ed Markey, and Jian Shaheen. Shaheen? I don't know how to say that name. Yeah, I'm not surprised at those three. Revealed a bill on Monday that would require U.S. Customs and Border Patrol to issue refund over the course of 180 days and pay interest on the refunded amount. Refunds to small businesses encourage importers, wholesalers, and large companies to pass the refunds on to their customers. Putting money back in the pockets of small businesses and manufacturers as soon as possible. The bill is unlikely to become law, but it reveals how Democrats are starting to apply public pressure and Trump admin, which is good. We need the Trump admin to feel lots of public pressure because tariffs and shutdown is like the largest set of public pressures you can do to anybody. Is those like shutdowns, those economic downturns. And let me tell you, people do not like Trump. Also, armchair historian. I want to know what Fox News tariffs. I want to see what Fox is saying about the tariffs. Binding of Isaac, I don't care.
President Trump dusting himself off and doubling down after the Supreme Court rejected his sweeping tariff power.
God, he just looks so ugly!
The president on Truth Social announcing he's, quote...
Chat, should we make a hotness meter for the president? And then if you're, like, you have to be some level of, like, pretty goddamn smoking hot.
Raising the 10% worldwide tariff.
God, dude, his fucking profile picture gets me every time. It's so silly.
On countries, many of which have been ripping the U.S. off for decades without retribution until I came along, to the fully allowed and legally tested 15% level. Steve Moore is co-founder of the Committee to Unleash.
Chat, if we had a hotness level requirement for the president, would I be able to become president? Yes or no? Run a poll.
Prosperity and a former Trump economic advisor. He joins us now. Steve, good morning. Thanks for getting up. I want to get your reaction.
Calico, run a poll on that.
Obviously, the big Supreme Court ruling, but yet now the president is leaning into this Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. It's only good for 150 days, but what's your reaction to this and where is this headed?
Well, good morning. And by the way, this morning I'm going to have to be your two-armed economist. On the one hand, on the other hand. Okay. So look, I think it is appropriate for the Supreme Court to rein in the presidential power to impose tariffs. Tariffs are taxes, and it's pretty clear in the Constitution that the taxes have to start in Congress. They have to start in the House of Representatives, and none of these tariffs have ever been approved by Congress. And I think that's exactly what the court was saying, is that we have separation of powers. And incidentally, as a free market, limited government conservative, we don't want to see this president or any president. I mean, imagine you had Kamala Harris or President, God forbid, Gavin Newsom as president. They said, oh, well, I'm going to raise this tax and that tax without any kind of congressional approval. So this does kind of rein in the president's authority to impose certain kinds of tariffs. On the other hand, this president, Donald Trump, who I greatly admire, I think he's done amazing things for our American economy over just the last year. I mean, we have an economy that is really
6'7", chat. Every time I see this photo, I just
amazing things for our American economy over
kind of 6'7", 6'7".
just the last year. I mean, we have an economy that is really ready to just be lit on fire. He has used.
No, we don't, man. Dude, we have an economy ready to be lit on fire when we have the least liquidity in our economy in the last like 20 fucking years.
The threat of tariffs and the tariffs themselves as a way to get much better deals from other countries. I mean, Donald Trump, he's one of the greatest negotiators I've ever seen. He's bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars.
Donald Trump on Little St. James negotiating for how many hours of screen time he gets on the Xbox. Dude, literally none of the billionaires at Little St. James like Donald Trump. He just had money.
Of money from other countries.
Right.
He's forcing China and Japan and Europe and Canada to lower their tariffs on our goods and services to get a level playing field.
Well,
so I'm for that.
And Steve, I mean, like, so just to that point, because you're making such an important point, all of the naysayers said that these tariffs and the president's approach to reciprocity, which is the fundamental drive behind the tariffs, were going to wreck the economy. And yet now all are being forced to essentially say that the president's tariffs, while he took a mass saturation approach, much unlike his first term, it is unleashing the animal spirits of this economy.
Oh, yeah, dude. Animal spirits of our economy. Current liquidity of U.S. economy. What am I looking at? Monthly. Fred, Board of Governance, Fred. Ooh, liquidity is characterized by high interest rates. Yeah, we do have a very high interest rate, like right now. What's his name? Infranomics. He had a video on it. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but his stuff is so good. It's like so like it's so interesting watching his stuff, but it's so hard understanding it. I'll show you a very like quick snippet.
Of all the various different interest rates, of all the thousands or maybe even
yes, 4% is a high interest rate.
Tens of thousands of repo transactions. We're looking at the volume weighted median on those. You can see was well above the upper bound for days upon days.
You do not want a 4% interest rate. A healthy interest rate's around 2%. I mean, the American dollar is weakening.
Days upon days.
We'll see a large, especially when it comes to like the way that this current stock market is being upheld by the speculative interesting investing on AI. Once that bubble pops, which it's getting to that point, I mean, we're gonna have to. The U.S. government will have to print more money to pay back its bonds and its deals or its debts, and then that'll increase our interest rate. We don't make anything. All of our money in our economy is based off of speculative investing. It's all investing on, and then using that investment to buy debt, have that collateral be on the perceived value of your investments. It's not like Japan, Germany that make actual. Those are countries that make actual like products.
SOFR was really starting to dislocate. This is why versus what the auction or the buying groups, direct is in orange, primary.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to like tell you why. Like I'd have to watch this. Like usually I watch his videos like 2 or 3 times before I kind of understand it.
Please
but
take my cash. The standing repo is the exact opposite.
I know the repos. Japan has a massive debt too. They just tax the shit out of their citizens to make yes, they make shit they export. Japan has massive debt, but they don't anymore. They don't accrue debt like they used to. What Japan did was they had a lot of debt, right? They had an economy that was very similarly shaped to ours now. And then it collapsed in the 80s. No Japanese company wants to buy debt anymore because nobody had money to pay it back. And so the Japanese economy was like completely fucking kneecapped for multiple decades, and it's still recovering. But that's why Japanese companies do not own debt like US companies do. Buying debt in Japan is so much like going to debt has a like low interest rate debt. There have been companies that have put out 0% interest loans for larger companies to try to at least make some sort of like deal and get that started. The debt situation in Japan is completely different from the US debt situation. Our economy is built on our debt. Japan's is no longer built on their debt. They just have a lot of it left over from the 80s.
And I want to get you to this because I thought the Wall Street Journal nailed it. Their headline, the Wall Street Journal report says Trump's America First agenda has changed the trade landscape forever. Quote, the pursuit of...
Yeah, it definitely will never be the same.
Liberalized trade and high-minded principles that once drove U.S. trade policy is gone. In its place is an unsteady equilibrium of tariffs and transactional deals. America trade has moved into a more durably protectionist direction.
Also, taxes are good. Taxes are good. You should tax the citizens. Need them roads, need them health cares.
They go on, by the way, Steve, to point out that we are moving from free trade footing to the reciprocity model. And even though
taxation's theft, commie? No, it's not. You live in the country. You live in a real world that requires services and infrastructure. Taxation's not theft.
Democrats love to bash these.
If we taxed the top 1%, 2 or 3 more percent, we could solve all our problems. Literally all our problems. Require services like daycare in Minnesota? You mean the daycare that was happening, that was currently going on?
Tariffs and
you mean the kid that did that video and then got caught lying about it and then basically admitted lying about it? You mean the video of the daycare where the child services were actually happening, but you can't just like go up to cry about wage theft? Yet good old fashioned fraud is A-okay. It wasn't fraud. There literally is like no fraud. There's like no evidence of fraud. It's an inconsequential amount compared to the like amount of fraud coming from the federal government. And also, even if it is fraud, I don't care. Those people deserve to live their lives. They don't like. I don't think anybody should have to work to live.
Think they
are
taking a victory lap on the Supreme Court.
I don't know. It sounds like you defend pedophiles. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Is any future Democrat president actually going to deny billions in trade deals brought about by tariffs?
We have made no money from tariffs.
Are you going?
Again, we have made no money. No, you're fine. They're just going to be, I mean, it's free engagement. The bank said they would work with him again so that they wouldn't get fucked over by him.
To
Low
deny
IQ take.
the constituency in places like Pennsylvania and Michigan that because of these tariffs are going to create jobs in factories. You're now going to deny those voters who will
people who use that emoji, by the way, like the LOL emoji is a pedophile emoji in my opinion. You use that emoji, probably like touching children.
Yeah, well, listen, when I saw the president last week, the first thing I told him is I said, congratulations, Mr. President. You have proven 22...
Oh, dude, yeah, Trump's suing his own government.
Nobel Prize.
I forgot about that, dude.
Because remember, when Trump came into the office, there were 22 economists who said, oh, my God, his agenda on trade and all of these things is going to cause another Great Depression. We're going to have a stock market sell-off. By the way, we have the highest stock...
Can't be a future school shooter if I'm not in school anymore, dipshit. Well, I guess you could. I guess there are some that are like older.
Values ever.
We've graduated. That's true.
They said...
Actually, I wouldn't be a school shooter. I'm too hot to be a school shooter.
That inflation would go through the roof. We just got a reading on inflation. Inflation is falling back down to the 2% level that the Fed sets.
Inflation falling? My brother. Oh, wait. What was my poll? They weren't empty. There's no proof that those daycares were empty.
So they were completely wrong about this, and now...
God, dude, they're so annoying. I can't stand listening to Fox News and hosts.
I mean, the problem for Trump now is he's sort of lost an arrow in...
See, like, this is like, okay, let's take a look at this, right? Lots of bright colors.
His quiver.
Watch this
when he
live.
Negotiates with China, when he negotiates with Japan and other countries.
Moving colors, moving lights. This is like what your parents watch. And this is why they're all so fucking stupid.
And let me make
lights
one
and
other
colors
point.
and sounds.
You know, look, I'm for free trade. I understand, you know, without trade, we would all still be living in caves. I mean, we need to have trade. But on the other hand, it is absolutely true. Trump is 100% correct on this. These other countries, most of which are imposing much higher tariffs on us than we impose on them.
Not true. It's just not true.
That is what we covered yesterday.
With YouTube Premium.
Excuse me.
Volatility rocks market. Shocking economic data shows GDP growth with a huge miss to the downside. Inflation comes in hot and tariffs are overruled by the Supreme Court. Government spending plus net exports, or the difference just so happens we're looking at here at target. So the Fed is failing on their inflation mandate, yet they continue to cut rates. Remember, that is due to fiscal dominance.
Yeah, dude, I can't even explain this while I'm watching it. I just kind of like get it, but like I don't have the ability to explain this as I'm watching it. Like I can't give you my thoughts because it's literally just numbers. It's lights and colors on the screen. To me, like
again by about half.
I'd have to watch this all the way through, but my biggest thing was Trump like being a whiny little bitch. This is so funny that Trump is such a fucking snowflake about this shit.